So good morning everyone watching live on Twitch, YouTube or in the private Discord. A bit later in the week than normal. Monday was still Easter national holiday here in the Netherlands. Yesterday I also had other things going on, so we do our Monday market analysis on a Wednesday this week. And for price action, the timing is pretty good for that. So let's take a look at the charts, the market and everything around it. As usual, quickly looking at the headlines and the pre-market stocks in a glance. Europe slightly in the green, USA slightly in the red. Oil bouncing back up. All the metals are in a bit of a pullback, as the charts already suggested. We will take a look at that in a bit. And crypto is pretty much going sideways for after a small, very small rally. So nothing really major news event that I can see at the moment. Obviously Netflix is catching a lot of attention at the moment because it dumped like 28% overnight, and it's down 64%ish since the November high. So it's doing an altcoin a price move there, and just looks like stocks are behaving more like crypto instead of crypto starting to behave more like stocks. So interesting development there. Like Netflix, don't know if the chart will load. After hours minus 25% now, so it's pulling back a bit from the dump, but to minus 25% in the after hours. Take a look at that plunge. Crazy stuff for a stock that big. Quickly looking at the calendar for the rest of this week. Today, some minor Fed speeches, don't think anything will come on from that. Tomorrow, EU-wide inflation rate year over year. Probably not gonna, might be 8%ish, but probably 7.5 to 8%. Nothing really shocking. Thursday we do have Powell speech there, always an event to watch out. And make sure around those times, and this is our EU time, so no, it's actually, yeah, it's EU time. So half a mid-market on the US market times the Powell speech to watch out for. For the rest, quiet week, quite a bit of earnings coming out this week, and I think they are, most of them have already been published, hence the Netflix dump yesterday on the earnings. Let's dive into the charts, always the most interesting part, but it's good to have the macro context. DXY, bit of a pullback, called perfectly here by Trend Profit. Just one candle before it happened, it told us there was a high potential move down, high probability move down. It is still way above the 100 benchmark magic number. It's in a bit of a pullback now, so that might give Bitcoin and other things a small push up. Probably, I think that this is a bounce level here, the 100.3%. And again, doesn't really mean that the dollar is doing amazingly well, but it just means that the euro and some other currencies are doing worse long term than the dollar. I think all the fiat currencies are in a bit of trouble after all the money printing. So DXY bit pullback, maybe even goes back to test the 199.5-ish levels, but I don't see any reason why it shouldn't continue after a small pullback here. So normal price behavior, perfectly called buying cycle, potential reverse zone, trend momentum dropping, and that's your potential entry trigger there. Stock market, we'll take a look at futures separately in a bit. Gold still also in a bit of a small pullback, nothing really shocking. We'll take a look at gold in a bit when looking at your hedges, but locally on the lower time frame, this is the daily chart, we made a 50% retrace so far. In bullish conditions, that's often the deepest you get, but more logical level would be the golden pocket around 1930. That would be a very nice entry point to on the lower time frames for gold. Higher time frames, we're still in the process of building that the handle of the cup and handle that is a handle itself on the higher time frames. So long-term gold looking good, short-term gold bit of a pullback, 1930s, maybe even backtesting the 1910-ish, 1900 levels. Looking for an entry there as a hedge trade. Bitcoin higher time frame will still okay. I would have liked it to be above that 24 500-ish, 600-ish level by now, but not bad of a price action last few days though. It's on the daily chart. I think today will be a bit of a pivot for Bitcoin to decide will it go up and maybe even break this previous high around 48-ish. That would mean we probably hit 50k. Or will we go down from here, backtest this bottom of the high time frame channel around 35-ish. So high time frame, your targets are probably 48k and 36k, around that. How are we looking so far? We still have that bullish divergence on RSI, bullish divergence on MACD, but it has not really played out. We're not getting that follow-up action, that price action, that proper bounce. Volume is still quite low. We see the volume moving average keeps dropping. We don't have any volume anomalies that might indicate a top or a bottom. Did have some volume divergence here on this last few days. So Bitcoin is at the crossroads, having to decide going to the middle of the channel or to the bottom of the channel. 50k or 36k-ish on the higher time frames, obviously. Just want to check one thing. Yeah, we were close to hash ribbon capitulation earlier this previous month, but we're now stabilizing and going a bit sideways, so no indications there yet. Market BTC dominance going sideways, floating around that 200-day moving average. I think it's the 200-day, yeah, it's fixed on 200-day moving average. Still didn't make a higher high, didn't make a lower low, so still in price compression there. Not many things going on. Some altcoins obviously take advantage of these sideways and get a nice pump, but overall it's not alt season, it's not Bitcoin season, it's just nothing burger really for 3 weeks in a row now on BTC dominance. No reversal signs or anything, any indications in the charts. Going sideways pretty much renders all the oscillators useless. If we go a bit down in time scale, pretty much the same picture. It's no edge, nothing to tell us about any direction at the moment. Ethereum to Bitcoin, not too bad. It was outperforming, Ethereum was outperforming Bitcoin. It's now pretty much bouncing off the 200 SMA on the daily, and not doing, the last days were not the best for Ethereum. Pretty much in the middle of this very high time frame structure. And it seems there's still quite a bit of time, at least until the summer, to mature this pattern, and hopefully we get some nice price action later this year. But at the moment, high time frame, obviously there is like 10% space to the upside and probably 10% to the downside for underperform, outperform. So it's pretty much a coin flip, which the Bitcoin dominance already said. Well positions, Bitfinex, shorts slowly building, but pretty much noise on the charts. No big increase in short positions, so that's good. Total market cap also stuck in the range. It did bounce off this major support level. It goes all the way back to being resistance in May last year. So that year-old zone is still very much valid. I think the real level to break is that 200-day moving average here in the middle of this resistance zone that has been resistance a couple of times before, and before that it was clearly acting as support. So no party stream until we break above that 2.2 trillion market cap. And we're back to the US dollar there. Let me just save my changes. Looking at stock market futures, S&P, it opened up a bit lower in the pre-market. We do have some potential higher time frame flips, so we could get a bit of a rally here. I think there's like, probably this is the level, 3% space to the upside. Don't really know what will happen in this zone. So obviously, let me grab the right point. This is a very important resistance zone at the moment, and it has been for quite a while. I think we can easily expand it a bit to here if we look at history. So this is a very major zone there. We also have this, the lows from that December little dump as in between zone here. There was also resistance here. And to the downside there is, it's pretty much in the middle of a range with several zones down and several zones up. So until we really break below this level, oops, forgot to click, there we go. This is the first support level if we go down, in my opinion. maybe something in between here. Let's see if that makes any sense if we draw it out. Probably, but it's minor, it's minor. So the S&P 500, pretty much middle of a range. Looks like it's going to rally until this level here, so would not surprise me that if we get 2 to 3% upside potentially there. Dow Jones looking, I think the S&P looks a bit more volatile, obviously, with the tech stocks jumping up and down. Dow Jones is not looking that good either, still not making higher highs. Did make a lower low recently. So there's some room for a bit of a relief rally, but be aware that this could be on pretty much every stock market a lovely place for, and let me draw it out. This is a lovely place for a double top scenario before continuing down. Because if we take a look at the fib levels on the Dow Jones, we see that this top was pretty much at the Fibonacci golden pocket. So if you get a double top at the Fibonacci golden pocket, retrace, then you know you are probably in for a bit of pain. And from that level it would suggest going back to here, so that's 8+% dump potential. If we just do the same on the S&P, you see there the retrace was even until now bigger, almost at the 786, so it overshot the Fibonacci golden pocket, bounced from it again, so we could get even a higher high around this level before making that double top structure. But I think on the Dow Jones it's the most clear. If you just, it's less volatile than the S&P, less mood swings, so I think this chart gives a bit more clarity TA wise, and this is the scenario I am giving the highest probability. But yeah, it depends on macroeconomics, on the whole Eastern Europe situation. It depends on the Fed, if they stick to the plan or make changes there. That obviously could swing it in either direction. Also on the Dow Jones, trend profit hits those reversals perfectly. We got this one here, perfectly called. We had this one here, perfectly called here. We had this one here. Wasn't that big of a move, had a pullback first, but did work out in the end. And we're now having another daily signal here that kind of is in the middle of working out. So that's why I think hitting that resistance first before going back down is the highest probability. Here we were going high, you get the warning signs. For the members, you don't have these warning signs yet. Its last version will be published today. Yeah, Bravco will take a look at ADA in a bit. So Dow Jones respecting the TA, respecting the oscillators perfectly. You see here these harmonics also exactly hitting what it should do. And for a big harmonic like this is a bearish 5-0 being painted here. What you do want to see is that high, a confirmation high, and then going down. So this double top could act as a perfect confirmation of this high time frame multi-month bearish harmonic here. Nasdaq, pretty much same story, has been also pretty much destroyed in the last month. Did have a bit of a pullback rally. It's also exactly had the previous high on the Fibonacci golden pocket, so there is nice space for the same pattern as we saw on the Dow Jones, just a bit more in percentage. Relief rally, double top at the Fibonacci golden pocket before going down, and here we have a bullish lower time frame bullish harmonic, at least lower time span. So you see these harmonics working out lovely on these levels. Why did I go here? That shouldn't be silver. That should be the S&P ETF, one of the potential hedges I look at sometimes. I peak, hey, asterisk. So stock markets, low time frame, looking for a relief rally. Higher time frame, it looks like more downwards potential there, based on the Fibonacci levels, based on harmonics, based on the oscillators. Switching to crypto, as in the banner we see Bitcoin was stalling a bit and it's now gaining a bit of traction on a critical support resistance level, that yellow line that is from all the way ancient history, that June 15 peak last year. We see this zone has been very important for a long time. We're now hitting it. We didn't pierce it quite a bit. I was really hoping to get above this level here, that 42.3, but we are so far stalling. Could just be a little break. Next target here is that 42k level in between before the top of the zone at 43. Keep in mind what we saw on the stock market. Quickly flip to the daily. No, it's not that clear. If the stock market does do that double top and Bitcoin follows, then this is the level to watch here for a potential top at 43. And this is also the level it needs to break to make a higher high. And so far we did make a lower low and are now making this a higher high. But yeah, really getting out of this zone is so very important for Bitcoin. If we keep stalling here and we go down, then these levels are next, and after that we go here. So really pivotal moment with about the same space to the upside or the downside in the zone, waiting to pick direction. We just have to wait. And on lower time frame, obviously, we can do some nice trades. 24 minutes time frame, my favorite trading time frame. We see we're stuck in that box. We need a significant breakout with either a lot of volume. Go down one, please. With a lot of volume, or with breakout, backtest the previous levels and then go up. So either we need a very nice volume spike here, just like we had here, where you saw the volume increasing pretty significantly on that previous leg up, or you want breakout, backtest, and then bounce, and your entry level would be pretty much above the first initial breakout high. So you see where it pivots, if it backtests and goes. Again, if you get a lot of volume instantly, you probably don't get that backtest of the previous resistance. But interesting, we do low time frame continuously making higher lows, and we now just made a bit of a higher high than the previous two pivot points on the low time frame. See what happens in the coming hours. Looks like it's just waiting for US stock market to pick a direction there. Just quickly peeking at the overview of the pre-market once it loads. So low time frame, we pretty much have the same to the downside. Just waiting for it to break the zone and confirm the breakout. Always be ready to trade both ways. Don't get caught in the FOMO or the shilling of the YouTubers that just trying to get more clicks there. Quickly looking at trend profit, switching time frames. Daily, we are on this local channel a bit. You see intermediate, low short-term targets. On the daily, we are stable in the trend because we did make a higher low on the daily. That's why the trend strength has increased. That is still quite a bit from being overbought. We do have here those potential reverse zone with trend momentum flipping. It's happening, going sideways a bit, still pointing to the right direction. Trend momentum about to flip up on the daily. So on the daily, there's a bit of space to the upside and pretty stable. 12 hours is dropping a bit in trend strength, obviously, because on the 12 hours we failed to really make a higher high and we did make a lower low, so that causes the trend strength line to drop. The deltas look a bit diverging. Trend momentum is pretty flat, so pretty much sideways declining price action on the 12 hours. 6 hours declining, or 8 hours, sorry, declining. 12 hour, the 6 hours is at a potential reverse zone. It's starting next tick, but we still are in oversold there. Just flipping through the time frames. Pretty much same story in the 2 hours. 1 hour already flipped, the 2 hour already flipped to bullish a while ago. Nice to see here. You see the trend strength slowly increasing. You got a cluster of warning signs, and after 2 candle of warnings we got it leg up. Just the combination of those things are a nice lower time frame trade. Still plenty of room to the upside there. 1 hour slowly increasing, obviously, of the last moves. No real edges there. 24 minutes we already saw hitting the top of the range. Just 15 minutes is still flat. Let's go crazy. Let's even go to the 5 minutes. A bit of a rejection here. This level, it's trying again to break it. Then we have this little test here. there was a bit of a reaction in the potential reverse zone, but nothing really. So 5 minutes looks also up. So scrolling down these time frames, we see there's a bit of mixed feelings in the higher time frames, and the lower time frames do look a bit bullish, at least in the trend profit part of the world. Quickly looking at ADA on Binance Futures. There we go. Let's go to the 1 hour. Let's look on the daily. It's been in a downtrend for so long. Since September, really, you're failing to make any higher highs. But now, for the first time, we might have made a significant higher low, so could be getting a bit of strength back. See, on the daily, trend profit is still below 0 in trend strength, but it is increasing. We did hit that potential reverse zone up, so that's looking okay. 4 hour, we did get pretty good bounce up after breaking this previous level. It broke through and it pretty much instantly bounced up back to 95 cents. It's still a bit oversold on the 4 hour. How far did it go? If we take the top, solid 786, retrace exactly. Keep in mind, if it goes south, it will probably see 83.80 cents as next levels. So far, as long as Bitcoin doesn't dump, this looks to be doing pretty okay. Did we have so retrace just 236, so there is quite a bit space to break that $1 based on those levels. So yeah, it seems to be gaining a bit of strength, but yeah, it depends on Bitcoin. But it does have a lot of work to do, especially if you look at the higher time frames. But from going down, we now seem to, so far we seem to making a higher low, but that could change obviously. And we did break, we almost broke critical levels here at 90 cents. It really needs to stay above the 90 cents from now on to get a bit more hope on that. 35 minutes in already. Quickly looking at some hedges. Gold, as mentioned before, we did have a bit of a pullback. But nothing really shocking yet. Always a slow mover, but as long as we don't break this 1895, so say pretty much 1900-ish, we are still fine on the high time frames. I am looking for an entry around that 1900, 1930 level here. Also here, trend profit really catching the moves well on the daily. Also here, one tick, one candle, the reversal candle was marked and we have that pullback now. Here we got the slow move up. So Trend Profit really understands gold too. It's not just made for crypto, obviously. So gold looking good, looking for entries in this zone, the low 1900-ish zone. High silver going sideways. I did expect it to be performing a bit better, but still making constant higher highs. It could be just coiling up, gathering strength. We do have that pullback now, like all the metals pretty much. So not having any trades. I'm not eyeing for any potential trades on silver at the moment. I'll first pick a direction and show some strength. Gold miners, lovely channel up still. Pretty much interesting to see if it will hit this bottom of this channel and if we get any bouncing signs. S&P ETF, you could play that obviously, but the best looking hedge at the moment, in my opinion, is again US oil fund. We really played those highs pretty well. We know an accumulation pattern that we broke out of and now exactly backtesting these levels. Let's switch to the FTX chart so we see the patches. So we see the after hours pre-market. Still looking good. Just 1 second. And I'm back. So US oil looks good pre-market. It's pretty much the same. It's a bit higher even. So I'm just waiting for a bit of confirmation there. Would like to see a bit steeper trend momentum, and you know how those backtests work. Quickly disable that one. You break out, you backtest, then you looking for that bounce where you either enter here when superseding, when passing the high of the initial breakout, or if you see a very steep rise in volume, then obviously you need to, if you see a big rise in volume going way above the moving average, let's enable that. You see we are, yesterday was just around the moving average. If you see like a breakout candle like here or here, then you can also enter. So that's definitely a hedge trade I'm looking for. Bitcoin wise, I'm waiting to see what happens here. If we get that another push up, if we break out of that range, I think there's a nice low time frame trade opportunity here from 2 to 3%. I'm trading Bitcoin both ways, but I'm also looking at this as a hedge trade. From all the hedges I got here, we did have that backtest of the previous breakout, so really looking forward to next days to see if we get the bounce of the break hook and go. Alright, I think I covered everything today, 40 minutes in, so pretty decent. Just quickly looking at the chat channels. If there were any questions or requests any further, not as far as I can see. So I think that's it for today. Next market analysis should be back on schedule on the normal Monday. And if you're trading, be safe, manage your risk, don't get FOMO'd or FUD out. Just trade direction agnostic, and don't forget to look at hedge trades on the higher time frames. Thanks for watching, take care, and speak to you all later.